Hey, hello, and welcome. It is No Apologies on Beck. I'm zooming in, but we are still unafraid to speak the truth here. Lori is at the Bourbon Bureau. Don't ruin it, Lori.
I won't. I've got it. I'm going to do some safekeeping for it. I may clean it, though, but just.
Good. That would be great. I'm on Wi-Fi, by the way, which is not optimal for Zoom, but it's the best I can do at the moment. So we'll hope for the best. Right now, it seems like it's working very well. So, Lori, we've got a good show, and of course, zooming in makes it a little extra interesting, I think. We've got a couple of topics each. We've got a Biden cabinet member. But what do you say we start right off the bat and start with segment one, which is our Vice President, Kamala Harris. And she's taking a lot of flack and has been for our situation at the border. She has been dubbed the border czar. And it is a title I don't think she wants, because a lot of baggage comes with that. And it's politically, it's brilliant for the Republicans to have dubbed her as such. However, title or no title, President Biden did put her in charge, task her with dealing with the border issue. And so the odd thing is she hasn't gone to the border, despite now we are working on months where people are saying, why aren't you at the border? So
not only that, not only just people saying that, the actual mainstream press is now all up in her. I'm like, what's going on? The actual, the alphabet networks are going after her, which is just not done. I mean, that's not normal.
Well, I think the farther we get away from Trump leaving office, the more they are going to have to focus on the obvious things. And it doesn't matter how much they want to play nice; they're gonna have to. It makes them look too ridiculous to go forever and not start to ask the hard questions. So I've got a clip here that is a little video feed from a Twitter, and why don't you go ahead and run it, guys?
The bones of the work, really, it's the same. Let's see the people, let's see their needs, and let's focus on it and understand our responsibility.
Why will it be successful this time if it wasn't in the past?
Well, I think there was success about what happened in the past. And again, when you look at what we're doing now, you're seeing progress. And so let's not overlook progress.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well, I mentioned it because I know Republicans have certainly come at you on this, but Democratic Congressman Cuellar has a border district, has said to you and the president, come. You need to see this.
Listen, I care about what's happening at the border. I'm in Guatemala because my focus is dealing with the root causes of migration. There may be some who think that that is not important, but it is my firm belief that if we care about what's happening at the border, we better care about the root causes and address them. And so that's what I'm doing.
So that was a very interesting. It's not the Twitter feed. I think hopefully we'll have that up next. But that's a very interesting exchange with Lester Holt and her. And it's phenomenal to me on how tone deaf she is to what the people are looking for, and her lack of recognizing that the optics of this are horrible, and that she and her team were so ill prepared. I guess it shows that they're accustomed to just the softballs, because Lester threw a very reasonable question.
Absolutely.
You're not going to the border. Oh, we've been to the border, or no, yeah, whatever.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border. I'm like, not since you've been named the czar. Maybe there's a little communication gap there too. I laughed too. I thought the same thing.
Not since you're actually in charge of doing something about it when it's the most important time to be there. It's like she wants to click her heels and say it 3 times, and now it's not a problem. And Lester's going to ignore the situation. And I do want to get into. She talks about the root causes, and for me, that statement is actually the most important of this entire topic, which we'll hit on next. But I still want to get into the playful Twitter feed, if we have it, with her not going to the border.
I'm Lauren Boebert, and I traveled down to McAllen, Texas, to the Rio Grande Valley sector to see what's up at our southern border. So here's what's up at the border. Illegal aliens crossing the border, that's up. Sex offenders crossing the border, that's up. Drug trafficking, gun smuggling, human smuggling, that's up. Unaccompanied children being sent on this journey alone, and even worse, given over to the cartel, that is way, way up. You know what's not up at the southern border? Respect for law and order, funding for our border patrol. And where is the media to cover this crisis? More than 70 days ago, Biden named cackling Kamala as border czar, but she hasn't done a single thing to protect the American people. She hasn't even been down here to see the border or the tens of thousands of children wrapped in aluminum foil. You can't just hear about what's happening. You have to come down here to see for yourself, to really understand the devastating reality at our southern border. So I brought Kamala down to see exactly what this regime is responsible for with their man-made crisis. Now, Kamala, I want you to stand here and look at what you've done.
I love it.
Now, there's two things I noticed about that. One, she calls her Kamala rather than Kamala, which is super cool. Secondly, she calls her cackling Kamala, which is even funnier. And so I'm like, that could stick, you know, that could stick. That was masterful. I love it when people do things that are clever and funny and still illustrate a point.
Yeah, she's I think she's going for spunky, and it's working. And I would imagine that it's driving fans, and it's probably driving contributions. But you know,
she's a Colorado representative, by the way, and
I like her.
She's the real deal. Go look at she actually ran a restaurant that everybody was packing at the restaurant. It's super cool. I mean, she's got a great background.
Her. That's right.
That's Lauren Boebert. Yes. Yeah, she's
all
great.
All the waitresses were open carrying.
Like open carrying, yeah. It's super cool. Yeah,
she might be my fave for a little while here.
She's great.
So yeah, I mean, she's tapping into all the red meat things that work so well. I mean, it's beautiful politics. Whether you agree with this representative or not, it's very well played.
Yeah,
and the thing is that it was handed to her on a silver platter by the Biden administration, by Kamala Harris. It's so obvious. It's such an easy thing, and what a political blunder on their part.
It is kind of a mystery why that they are not doing what they need to do with the border too. I mean, because it's exponentially worse.
I think it goes to what they are accustomed to, and because the media has been on their side. If they avoid an issue, then they assume that it will not be covered and it'll go away. And I think it's worked for them in the past. If they want to sort of redirect attention somewhere else, like you frequently do, like she did in this interview, you pivot away, do your own thing. But when it's a big problem like this, no one's letting go of it. You're going to need to address it. The longer you avoid it, the bigger and more obvious it becomes. And the thing I think that even sort of layers on top of that with not going to the border is also not allowing any transparency. They're still trying to keep things shut down because they don't want people to be aware of the problem. If they're not aware of it, it doesn't exist in their minds.
Yeah, I agree. Well, when we come back, you've got a little information for us to update us on inflation, right?
No. Yes, you're right, Lori. And I'm changing last second on you because I'm not done with Kamala and this whole situation.
Oh, you're not?
No, well, I thought it'd be a short topic. I'll hit my inflation topic. I got a great email today and a couple of other stories about it. We'll hit inflation maybe on Monday, but I do want to hit one more segment back on immigration, okay?
Awesome. That sounds great. All right, we'll be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work. Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature Heroes, with the region's only Hero meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck. And we are in the midst of talking about the situation on the border. And really, it's more of the situation with Kamala Harris, Biden administration, and the border. I wanted to continue on with the second segment because I think it's worth discussing just a little bit more. It's one thing to say, isn't it crazy how she's so poor at understanding the optics, or at least the Biden administration is, of not going to the border, and she just won't go. But it's another to see where they're really coming from in how they view the border problem and what the origins of it are. So I wanted to go through, I've got a couple of articles here. There were several that I looked up, but if you bear with me, I'm going to go through a couple of articles and we can discuss. The first one is from the Washington Post, and the article is entitled, this is exactly, that's it. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Harris wraps up a Latin America trip that featured sharp words to would-be immigrants. Because she did, and it may shock people, she said, hey, don't come. And it's really interesting on how all of this is evolving. Back to the one comment I made earlier about transparency, it's interesting now that Kamala is in charge. It's a very different story than when she was senator and campaigning, and she really was going after the Trump administration and was talking about how the government should be in the business of keeping families together, not tearing them apart. The government should have a commitment to transparency and accountability. So how hypocritical, which is the modus operandi, right? But in March here of this year, Biden directed Harris to try to address the underlying causes of migration. Now, this is important to know, what they see as the underlying causes of migration, including poverty, violence, climate change, and government corruption that caused so many people to flee their homes to begin with. Now, you see, this is the impossible task, but it's the hubris of the far left, of the progressives, to think that they are going to tackle these problems. Think about this. And this is what she did. She was just in Guatemala, where she got a very poor reception, by the way.
I saw that.
Yes.
I heard a lot of heckling going on and a lot of big banners at her too. Yep.
Right. So people leave their countries because they're bad places to be, at least for those particular people. And they go to a place for one reason or another. So we can look at why are they leaving the country, which is what the Biden administration is doing. And they're saying because of climate change, which is...
I was just going to say, how on earth does that even apply? I don't even understand how you can apply that.
Who knows? But,
is that gobbledygook stuff
poverty, violence, and also government corruption. So can you imagine thinking you're going to go into other countries and fix their poverty, fix their violence, fix their corruption so that people don't want to leave?
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. The best they can do is to say, okay, what is it? Why do they want to come here? Which begs a wonderful discussion, because why do they want to come here? Well, America has always been the best place for opportunity. So they want to come here for opportunity, but we have to ask ourselves, do they want the opportunity that's presented with a free market, or do they want the opportunity that comes with a welfare state? Because if it is of the old America, where you come because of economic opportunity and the sky's the limit, wonderful, let them come, right? But when we have a welfare state, a redistributist type of welfare state, then what they become is a burden, unfortunately, and they're coming for the welfare rather than for just the opportunity. And so that's why, if you want to correct something, correct those reasons of why people want to come here. And then, of course, you take care of the bottleneck at the border and figure out what to do there. The idea you're going to go into other countries and fix their poverty, which, I mean, how embarrassing. And no wonder the president of Guatemala is pissed off and Mexico's pissed off. How dare you?
Right?
Come in.
Fix your own country, people.
Vice
Leave
president.
us alone.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that it's wrongheaded to even consider that they could even fix those things. But I also think that it was made very, very clear by our country, welcome, come in. I mean, it was obvious. We're not, we're going to defund ICE. We're going to take people off the border. What kind of a message did they think was going to be sent, Rick?
Well, exactly. You're exactly right. And this is what the presidents of Mexico and Guatemala basically said. They came out specifically and said, this is the Biden administration fault. This crisis that we're in is your fault, Kamala. They said that. The proposal here, going back to the root causes that they want to fix in other countries. They can't fix poverty here, but they're going to fix it in Guatemala. They can't fix government corruption here, but they're going to fix it in Guatemala. They can't fix violence here, but they're going to fix it in Guatemala. Unbelievable. What they want to do is, it says here, the U.S. will invest $48 million, this is among many other things, $48 million of American taxpayer money to support entrepreneurship and innovation in Guatemala, as well as affordable housing and agriculture. They're going to, they've already pledged $310 million in regional humanitarian aid and $4 billion plan to boost development in the region. Additionally, Guatemala will also receive 500,000 coronavirus vaccine doses, with the promise of more to come. So that's from the one story. I'm going to quick go to just the news. A great article here. It says, after Harris diplomatic flop, red electoral shifts. Both of those things. Some see the Democratic grip on the Latino vote slipping, because this ties in with the recent loss. Yes. So in
mayors, they're losing. Yep, they're losing. They are losing mayorships in a couple of different places, and it's an 85% Hispanic community, and all of a sudden Republicans are winning in those that's going to be a real shocker when that continues to happen. And I predict that will happen, because you knew at some point the Hispanic population was going to realize, hey, wait a minute, our values are
the Hispanic. The traditional Hispanic values align with the Republican Party
perfectly. Yeah,
and
agreed.
and the Democrats think that people will remain stupid forever and they'll remain compliant and dependent forever. But the Latinos are waking up, and just because in fact, I think from what I'm reading, most of them are in favor of some type of response at the border, because it is affecting they are now new Americans. It's affecting their way of life as well. Let's see here. It says you could make the argument that President Biden and Vice President Harris are the cartel's best friends because their income just went through the roof, is one of the comment. And what they're talking about, the income of the cartel. because of what has happened. And you have the coyotes bringing over the children. You've got the drug trafficking. It's a mess. And that's why the Guatemalan and Mexican presidents are so furious, because they are causing this rush. They have caused this rush. They are causing an increase in crime. They have caused an increase in the drug trafficking, in child trafficking. It's unbelievable what the Biden administration has done, and their lack of awareness with what they believe the solution to the problem is to go and fix other countries' violence, corruption.
It's arrogance,
poverty.
Rick. It's totally arrogant. They are so arrogant they think that they are in charge of other people's countries, and it's silly.
Yeah. It really is, and I think that the president of Guatemala, I think his name is pronounced Giammattei, but wow, he kind of gave a politically correct slap down to Kamala, and I'm not one to say it's embarrassing for the U.S. because it's just a country, but if you're concerned about being embarrassed for the U.S., this is probably a good time to be embarrassed for the U.S.
No, I agree.
Unbelievable. All right.
Now, when we come back, I'm going to touch on a really interesting subject to me. There are many, many people who are still wearing their masks despite the fact that they really don't need to. And so some people are starting to look into why that is. We'll tackle that when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, right, we are back on No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I am your host, Rick Becker, and over there is Lori Hintz, our co-host.
We're kind of doing this by Zoom, but it works. It works for us, so it's all right. And I'm kind of happy to have the Bourbon Bureau here today. It's kind of handy. Fun fact, if you're a girl, you can't wear bracelets at the Bourbon Bureau because it makes like lots of noise when you put your hands on it. So I realize that you don't have that problem. But,
what if you're non-binary? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a good point. That's true. I am going to talk today about COVID and masks, and I'm talking a little bit about the possibility, I'm just going to throw this out there, that there may be a little Stockholm syndrome stuff going on here too. Because of the COVID captivity, Americans have essentially been held hostage, no question, and you know, Fauci kind of held us hostage, totalitarian governors, named Cuomo and Newsom and Whitmer and Wolf and Murphy, all of these guys kind of held us hostage, if you will, and big media, including cable news giants, also because it was constant hammering of this stuff. So everybody kind of contributed to hold us hostage. I want to show you a graphic here. This is an article from a gentleman named Brian C. Jundeff, MD. So he's a doctor, and he says Stockholm Syndrome is a psychological phenomenon where hostages or abuse victims bond with their captors and abusers. Now, Rick, you and I have talked about this before, but I want to go over it so those that do not know what Stockholm Syndrome will get a feel for this. This bonding can occur over days, weeks, or months of captivity and abuse. And think about it, over a year of this, right? So rather than being terrorized by their captors, hostages sympathize with them, developing positive feelings, sharing common goals and causes, and essentially falling in love with their captors. So the story behind the Stockholm Syndrome is a 1973 six-day hostage event that happened in a Swedish bank. And by the second day, 2 days, think about it. We've been hostages with these masks for a year. It was only 2 days. The hostages were on a first-name basis with their captors, and they started to fear the police more than their abductors. By the end of the hostage crisis, the convicts and hostages embraced, kissed, and shook hands. What the heck? And you're thinking, how did these people flip so quickly? Well, a modern-day version of the Stockholm Syndrome is playing out after over a year of COVID captivity. Americans have been held hostage by medical czars like Dr. Anthony Fauci, totalitarian governors that I named before, big media like CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. And several weeks ago, the New York Times wrote about those clinging to their masks. So even after the CDC says they are no longer necessary, the article, they're vaccinated and keeping their masks on maybe forever. And it illustrates a Stockholm Syndrome phenomenon after more than a year of mask mandates. So here is one example. This is a gentleman named Joe Glickman. And whenever Joe Glickman heads out for groceries, he places an N95 mask over his face. He tugs a cloth mask on top of it. He then pulls on a pair of goggles. He has used this safety protocol for the last 14 months. It did not change after he contracted the coronavirus last November. It didn't budge when earlier this month he became fully vaccinated. And even though President Biden said on Thursday that fully vaccinated people do not have to wear a mask, this is some time ago now, of course, Mr. Glickman said he planned to stay the course. In fact, he said he plans to do his grocery run double masked and goggled for at least the next, wait for it, 5 years. So Stockholm Syndrome may represent a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. I have read a study, and a study published in Journal of American Medicine, JAMA Psychiatry, found that a full third of those recovered from severe COVID are suffering from PTSD. So I thought that was, I thought that was very interesting too. I don't know how you diagnose that necessarily, and it seems, but it was a JAMA Psychiatry study that was published. Also, there is another article that I want to bring up, and this one is an article from WiredDailyNews.com, but it says it's like a pacifier. So this guy, this reporter guy named Ami Horowitz, took to the streets of New York City to ask people who have received the COVID-19 vaccine why they continue to wear a mask outdoors. The answers from people are So lame, so very lame. This proves that we can be conditioned and nudged to do just about anything. It isn't very comforting either. The most disturbing comment came from the guy who said, I shouldn't be given the privilege to not wear a mask. How beaten down must you be to say that I shouldn't be given the privilege to breathe freely out of doors, Rick?
Yeah, I think this brings to light the comment made in that article about being able to be nudged and conditioned.
Right.
That is the most illuminating aspect. It's the most concerning aspect. I think about. I have. I mean, over the years, thought many times, how is it possible? It seems so far away from America. The atrocities that have occurred in other countries, whether it was in Yugoslavia or in various African countries, or even, of course, if you go back to World War II, how can people be conditioned to accept something that you would say would never normally be accepted? COVID has shown me it can happen. And yet wearing a mask is not the same thing as genocide. I understand. No. But the psychological ability of people to be conditioned to things that not very far in the distant past, not very near distant past, whatever the hell I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
They would never ever have accepted for a moment, and then the next thing you know, boom, there it is.
Here we are.
That window gets moved.
Yeah, it is amazing. So this Ari Horowitz did a little man on the street thing, and I want to show you a little clip of it so that you can see the answers. Now, this, to be fair, is New York City. This is not Bismarck, North Dakota. So roll tape, please.
Why do you wear a mask outside? What's your thought on that?
I'm not sure why.
Good news for you.
Well,
you don't have to wear a mask anywhere outside.
Okay. There you go.
All right. How do you feel?
The same.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and some people are still wearing their masks outside who are fully vaccinated, even though the science says they don't have to. Let's find out why. Why are you wearing a mask outside?
It feels weird not to. I just like it. I got used to it. I don't mind wearing it. I guess I'm just used to it, I guess.
I just have it on. I forgot it was on.
You forgot it was on? Are you vaccinated? Why are you wearing a mask outside? What's your thought process?
No comment.
I just feel like I have to wear it. I don't know why. I just want to wear it. Yeah, I guess like my friends wear them, so I'm like, if I might as well just too.
I feel like I won't take off my mask until everybody does.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have
pressure. Role modeling, right?
I mean, it's just there's a lot of anxieties with taking the mask off, you know, for the first time. So it's
because
probably
it's been so long.
Yeah, it's like a social anxiety at this point. It's just, you know, mental well-being and stuff.
So it's virtually impossible to get coronavirus outside while you're vaccinated.
Okay.
Does that change your thought process at all?
Not really. I'm just gonna keep wearing it. I personally still wouldn't want to take the risk anyway, and I don't trust anyone else. So I'm just doing it for my own
Even if the
health.
science said it was like basically impossible, it still doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Extra precaution.
Because I want to protect others, and there's still risk no matter what.
So the science says it's virtually impossible to get the coronavirus if you're vaccinated or spread it while you're outside.
Sure.
Does that change your thought at all?
I know that, but it also sets an example, a visual example.
That's how I feel sometimes. I just want to put it on.
Because you almost feel like almost a compulsion to do it because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the right thing to say. It's like a pacifier.
Very interesting.
The kid has his pacifier. Sure. You want to take it away, and he's surprised. Don't take it away.
Yeah, don't take it away. That was very interesting to me about the whole virtue signaling thing, because I suspected that was probably part of the deal. And then the peer pressure is another really interesting thing. Since when are adults susceptible to peer pressure?
Hey, listen, I tell you what, peer pressure is a huge part of what motivates the far left to have their group think. And I've read on that. It's spot on. And it really is everything that you learned in junior high still applies in politics today.
Good to know. All right, when we come back, we are going to go and we are going to take a look into our mailbag. We'll be right back.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
If you don't know what's going on in education in this country, then you don't know what's going to happen in the future of this country. And it's important. I'm Dr. Duke.
And I'm Katie.
Watch the Dr. Duke Show weekdays at 4 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Hey, we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and it is time for Mailbag. Do we have the Mailbag intro? Did I not see it?
Yeah, we had it. We had the intro, but it seems like we haven't had mailbag for a really long time. I don't know why, but we need to look at some of the people, some of the comments that the people are giving us on Facebook, particularly. We have a pretty robust Facebook following, so those of you who don't follow us on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook and definitely weigh in, and sometimes you get to see your comments on TV too, which is also cool. So, all right, our very first topic here is something that we talked about the other day. We were on talking with Tony Gehrig. Actually, we had a bunch of guests that day, didn't we? We had Raheem Williams, and then, all right, Fargo is planning to vote on hate crime ordinances. Are they a good idea, was our query. Will they make a difference? And people had some pretty strong feelings on this. Isn't this the job of our state legislature? How about that for an answer, Rick, right? Right?
Yeah.
These laws, I mean, I thought that the legislature had already addressed this. These laws only seem to go in one direction. The perfect example is how the city government of Fargo reacted to the blackface graffiti on the statue of Jesus and the graffiti on the mosque. In my personal opinion, both were wrong and disgusting behavior, but only one was denounced by our city government. Why? Should they both be treated as a hate crime? No, we don't need more laws. We need to enforce the laws we have. I thought that was a good one. Why put the new laws on the books to cover issues that are already covered by existing law? This next person says, agreed, same thing. It seems redundant, as this post, and it seems like it is being used as a method to divide people. And somebody says, well, I'd have to read the ordinances before forming opinion. We have smart people. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think they can prosecute anything higher than they already do, and it's too much work to prove intent. So no, they won't affect anything except feelings.
Probably very true.
I thought that was very true too. Keep Minneapolis out of Fargo. This is a common comment I hear people say. This isn't necessary. It simply stirs up unrest. Get a job, be productive, and there won't be time for this to be an issue. Do you want to read another one?
Sure. Curious on what they will actually charge. Perhaps they can start with a piece of crap who just brutally killed a 14-year-old in daylight. And this is in Fargo, right? But instead they will say he has a mental disorder and he was high on meth as a way out, beyond over this agenda. Another one, well, what happens when a child hits another child and is perceived to be a racist act? Will the first child be tried as an adult? Or how about meth crime ordinances? If you're high on meth and brutally stab someone like the 14-year-old girl, upon conviction, you're taken out to a lake outfitted with a stone around your neck and drowned, similar to what Jesus said about someone who causes a young person who believes in him to sin. They're kind of
going a little over the deep end here on this one.
Yeah. And again, a Minneapolis reference. But here, this is a simple one, but it really goes down to it. What will be the definition of a hate crime? This is it. Who is going to decide
That's
it?
the rub.
It's going to be a he said, she said, well, he did it to me because I have this characteristic, and the person who is accused, no, I didn't do it for that reason. So who decides? And so I agree with one of the earlier comments. It's probably not going to mean much of anything.
Make a difference. It probably won't make a difference. Well, which is in that way, it's a good thing that it won't make much of a difference, I guess, too. So our next topic on Facebook was beer, baseball tickets, marijuana, and drum roll, free vaccine card lamination. Woo, we're stoked. Come on, No Apologies fans, we asked, what other creative things can states do or give away to incentivize vaccines? Hilarious answers only, please. Well, some of them were hilarious and some of them were poignant. And if you look at the bottom, there it is, that delightful, thank you, Facebook, COVID-19 Information Center vaccine. Get information disclaimer on there. Idiots. So the first person somebody put up was fries. They thought, oh, it'd be funny with fries. Well, it was done, of course. The next person puts up Mayor de Blasio, free fries with your vaccine. So there's the link for that. And then was it you that responded this, Rick? Somebody says that doesn't feel like North Dakota. Maybe we should try lutefisk. So that was awesome.
Not I.
And somebody else put on there, West Virginia offers guns, trucks, and hunting licenses. I had not heard about that, so that's pretty cool. So there's a Field and Stream link that you all can look at and see what else they're doing. And somebody in our office said, probably more guns than that raffled every month in North Dakota, which I would totally agree with as well, too. So this last one, I'm going to try to get through this. I think we should all tell them to shove it because 60% of people that got these vaccines are having serious health issues. And the CDC just reported that 1,100 people have been hospitalized with COVID after getting both shots. Think for yourself. This is dangerous. Can't argue with a lot of people are coming up with issues after they've been jabbed. All right, this next topic I'm going to have you go for because this was your baby here on Bitcoin.
Is Bitcoin the currency of liberty? Why or why not? One person says, the price goes down, I'll keep buying. Our currency is poisoned. And another person says, as long as the government stays out of it, of course, which is the whole intent and purpose. Another says, decentralization of currency is the future, in my opinion. Someone says, any currency not backed by the central banking system represents freedom. It's why the globalists are so afraid of it.
Do you think that's true? I was going to say, I think that's true too. And when you say globalists, who are you referring to when you say globalists?
Well, I think who they're referring to is, for instance, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and you've got the World Bank. You've got a lot of these big players that when you have a decentralized currency, you have a loss of control, a significant loss of control. So I think that they despise this idea because it takes that away. It takes that legacy that they have away. Yep.
Okay.
Someone goes on, Bitcoin is going to crash harder after the Three Gorges Dam bursts in China. The miners are going to lose everything. Well, you know what? That's actually a good point. If you have a huge mining facility wiped out or several mining facilities wiped out, it will drop significantly, but it will be a temporary drop, most
Rebound.
likely. Someone says Dogecoin or Dogecoin is for the people. That's the Shiba Inu.
Yeah, but which one? How do you say it? I've heard it several different ways. So
I never looked up the origin. Some people say Dogecoin. It certainly has a dog on the front of it, and it would be typical for these crypto people to, they have, the hodl, HODL.
Yeah.
The hodl. You got to hodl the Bitcoin, which is to hold it because someone mistyped in hold, and so it's
exactly hodl, right? Exactly. And then the last one was, I wish I'd invested in it. I know that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
All
well,
right,
you were pretty funny watching that show because you were like, oh, now I want more Bitcoin. I could just see it on your face. It was so hilarious. Anyway, all right, when we come back, we're going to go and we're going to be talking about Biden's cabinet member, somebody that you haven't heard probably very much about. We will talk about Lloyd Austin III when we come back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
All right, folks, it's segment 5. You did it! And I'm going out for a late night supper after this, so congratulations to me.
Hey, good for you. Well, we have been going through a bit by bit, not only executive orders for Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., but we have also kind of been profiling a little bit some of the people that he has in his cabinet and he's surrounded himself with. And this is an interesting one. This guy's kind of an enigma. He's not well known. I'd never heard his name even before. I don't know about you before we started researching this guy.
No, I hadn't heard of his name. I figured he'd be just kind of I'd feel neutral about him just fine, but I'm a little concerned now after after reading
Same.
some of these research pieces here.
Agreed.
So
Go ahead.
he is what we're looking at is he's Secretary of Defense, right? Very important
Mhm.
position.
Mhm.
And there's the gentleman right there, Lloyd J. Austin III, Secretary of Defense. He is 67 years old, and his educational history includes having a Master of Arts in being a counselor in education, and he got a Master's in Business Management. But really, it's all about being in the armed forces, of course.
Right.
And in that, I believe he has a 41-year Army career. That's really the thrust of his experience. He has been involved in the Obama administration and in the various appointed positions, Chief of Staff, the Army, Director of the Joint Staff, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
There is a component here that I find interesting when we look at some of his potentially non-governmental or quasi-governmental experience. He has been a partner at Pine Island Capital, and we brought up Pine Island Capital when we were talking about Anthony Blinken. And so I think we might hit that in just a second, but I think let's not lose sight of that. We'll come back to Pine
Right.
Island Capital in a
Now,
second.
he has a very storied military career with his 41-year Army career. So he was command of the Corps, Division, Battalion, and Brigade levels. He was awarded the Silver Star for his leadership of the Army's 3rd Infantry Division during the invasion of Iraq in 2003. He was born in Mobile, Alabama, and raised in Georgia. And he also, I have read that he does not much speak to the media, which is really interesting. That I find very interesting. It's like probably not Kamala and the border level, but it sounds like he's just kind of a stealthy type of guy from what I am reading.
Right. Yeah. And that's interesting. I kind of like that for our armed forces guys to not be blabbermouths and just, you know, you don't need to report everything to the people at large. Just do your job. But looking through some of his stuff, I don't know if he's being quiet for that reason or just because it's better to not have people know. One of the things that's concerning is here's a regular Army guy, right? But he is in various positions, director type positions, board of directors positions, on various organizations that are connected with the federal government and defense spending and things like that. They include Nucor Corp, Guest Services, Carnegie Corp, Fidelity Investments Advisory, Booz Allen Hamilton, which is clearly defense, Healthcare, United Technologies, and he's making on the order of about $1 million from being a director and
being on boards.
Right.
That's amazing.
And that and various fees. And it's just phenomenal because he doesn't have expertise specific to any of those fields. I mean, he would be an interesting person potentially for speaking for specific projects, but to have this person who has zero experience in that field, zero, on a board of directors for the huge national or multinational corporation.
Just made me think of Hunter Biden there, a little
Right.
Hunter Biden-ish. So,
That's what it is. It's all about access. And so he's on as a conduit to access, someone who's powerful, a way for these corporations to get in bed with the federal government. That's what that comes down to. He also has stock options that in addition to making $1 million a year, he's got stock options at about $1.5 million per year. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, wow. I guess I never thought about becoming a multimillionaire by joining the Army, but this guy's doing it. Bravo.
Hey, it's a great gig if you can get it and not have anything to say. I mean, I think that's awesome. Don't say very much, make $1 million and another 1.5 million in stock options. So he's doing okay too. He spent his entire career in the military and never even worked at any one of these companies that you were naming too. Nothing in the industries, nothing even remotely biased. So apparently these people want him on their boards for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to that Pine Island Capital that Blinken has been a part of, we won't go into it too much, but really this is a big organization that are involved in defense, government service, and aerospace industries. So a very big time important organization. The chairman brought various people in specifically, as he said, because of their access, network, and expertise. So
there you go.
It's the network and, in this case, access that these guys are brought in. And of course, what you have is the commingling of big government and big business, which is a frightening thing.
It is, too. I was reading a little bit about this fellow. His name is Lloyd Austin III. And in 2015, he conceded in a Senate Committee on Armed Services hearing that a U.S. program intended to train Syrians to combat ISIS had not been successful. It sounds like he has some things that didn't go so great when he has previously been working to do things militarily.
Yeah, he really was taken to task. I mean, I was shocked at some of the things that were said about the areas that he was in charge, where people are shocked at how poorly it was run, or how far off this gentleman was in his estimation of what could be accomplished, that he needed to be reined in, that these plans he was having, there's no possible way they could be implemented, because even the foundations to take the first step of those plans weren't even laid. So he needs to be reined in, and that's concerning. Now he's Secretary of Defense.
Right. Well, this is from, let's see, it had been a year since President Barack Obama had set a goal to degrade and ultimately destroy ISIS, a year under Austin's command that had been filled with embarrassing setbacks, it says. And it says, a plan to train and equip 3,000 Syrian rebels to fight ISIS turned into a public relations nightmare. The $500 million program produced 52 fighters. Not 3,000, 52 fighters. Oops.
Yeah. So he has, I guess, he is a good pick for the Biden administration. He has apparently ample experience in being able to spend a great deal of money to accomplish very little.
So let's hope that continues and he accomplishes very little, because the less they do, the better, actually, at this point. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Interesting gentleman. So Lloyd Austin III. All right. I'm like just trying to remember his name, because I don't even know this guy. It's so weird.
The third.
Like, what is it? The third. Okay. So we are going to on Monday finally tackle your topic about inflation.
I'll be talking about inflation. We're gonna get into it, and we're gonna be so positive about it.
We'll be back together in the studio. He'll have the Bourbon Bureau back again. So
all
safe
right.
travels.
Hang with us,
all right,
folks.
We'll see you soon. Bye.